My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com. And you know our mission at OpenTheBooks.com. It's every dime online in real time. And to that end, last year we filed 47,000 Freedom of Information Act requests. Our goal was to capture virtually all public spending, all government spending at every level, federal, state, and local across the country. So you can come to OpenTheBooks.com, for example, and you can see nearly every single salary of every public employee at the federal, state, and local levels right into your school district across the country. We display, for example, 25 million public employees' salary and pension records just from fiscal year 2021. Well, this week I want to discuss the ongoing investigation that we have into the California state checkbook. Just to recap, about 2 weeks ago, for the first time in history, our auditors at OpenTheBooks.com, we posted the line-by-line spending in the state of California that had never been done before. Oh, sure, the bureaucracy had tried. Since 2005, they spent $1.1 billion with a B on a transparency and accountability platform, an accounting platform at the state. And they still couldn't provide a California state checkbook. Look, we had tried. It was a decades-long, knockdown, drag-out dogfight to open the line-by-line spending in the state of California through two controllers in California, John Chang and Betty Yee. Then we sued Betty Yee in 2020. It was a 2-year court fight in the Sacramento Superior Court. And incredibly, we lost that battle. It is the only court case at the local, state, and federal level we have ever lost at OpenTheBooks.com. So we shifted to Plan B, and that was to file sunshine requests with every single state agency in California. 442 sunshine requests we filed. And over the course of the last 4 months, those state agencies complied with our request and produced their line-by-line spending. So now you can head on over to our website at openthebooks.com and you can review 6.1 million state records. 201,000 state vendors last year received $87 billion. And so there are thousands of stories just waiting to be told in that data. Here's just one of them. This is what our team has done with the data at openthebooks.com. So we took the governor, Gavin Newsom's campaign donor disclosures, and we matched it up with the state vendor record. And here's what we found. Governor Newsom solicited nearly 1,000 state vendors for $10.6 million worth of campaign donations. And those 1,000 vendors last year alone received $6.2 billion in state agency payments. Now, the campaign donations from the state vendors is significant. It's material. Currently, Governor Newsom has about $24 million of cash on hand. So the amount of money, $10.6 million from the state vendors, is more than 40% of his current cash on hand. It came from state vendors. Now, people across the entire political spectrum, we believe, even though that this is legal, it's the Wild West of campaign donations in the state of California. Pay to play is legal in California as long as it's at arm's length and there's no quid pro quo. But I think people across the entire spectrum will find that it's highly unethical to execute a strategy of political fundraising from state vendors. Okay, so if you're sitting there in Florida or Texas, Governor Newsom has run campaign ads in your state against your sitting governor. And what you should know is he's executing on his campaign strategy to have taxpayers in California subsidize those political ads. Because here's what happens. You've got some of the largest corporations. You don't have to go further than AT&T, Comcast, all your big utility companies, healthcare companies, big banks, telecommunications companies that have state contracts, and they're recycling a pretty significant chunk of their profits back into the governor's campaign fund. For example, 6 healthcare companies gave Governor Newsom $700,000 worth of campaign donations, and last year those 6 healthcare companies received $1.9 billion. Over the weekend, you had the utility companies and Governor Newsom issuing an emergency order to ask people to set their thermostats at 78 degrees. And please don't charge your electric vehicle on the grid. Well, if you want reform in energy in California, maybe you should consider this. 6 major utility companies gave Governor Newsom $405,000 in campaign donations, and just last year, those 5 companies received $430 million in state agency payments. It used to be if you were a large corporation, you hired a lobbyist to keep government out of your business, and now we see the merger of big government in California and big corporations and the recycling of money back and forth. Make no mistake, this is a legalized money recycling scheme where Governor Newsom is executing a strategy of public financing in his campaign. And then we know, and you know this from last week's ripoff of the week, that while Governor Newsom was executing this strategy to solicit state vendors, so was his wife. He was soliciting state vendors for her nonprofit. And keep in mind that even the Clinton Foundation had the courtesy to establish their foundation as President Clinton was leaving office at the White House. The Newsoms have established this nonprofit while he is the governor, and they solicit the money while he was running for governor, while he was lieutenant governor, and while he is the governor of California. And so these donations run 5 and 6 figures, anywhere from 15,000, again, from large corporations like AT&T and the healthcare giant Kaiser Permanente, or Comcast, or PG&E, or Planned Parenthood. And the gifts are between 15,000 and 385,000 into her nonprofit. You know, she's able to then take some of that money personally in terms of the salaries. So since 2013, she's taken out $1.5 million in salary. She also runs a for-profit company that has taken out of the non-for-profit company $1.6 million. So the Newsoms have blurred all the lines here. They've blurred the lines between state vendors and campaign donors, between donors to nonprofits and public charities, and state vendors and Governor Newsom's campaign donors. And oh, by the way, the first partner, she calls herself, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, the governor's wife, her nonprofit charity produces films, and Governor Newsom stars in those films. In 2019, in the first 5 minutes of the film, onto the screen came Governor Newsom. This was a film entitled The American Big Lie. It's a film that can best be described, that calls the police racist, and then engages with the film. They establish curriculum. They say their curriculum is in 5,000 schools, reaching 2.6 million students currently. And it engages those students to take action. And one of the ways they advocate the students to take action is to vote for different politicians espousing policies. And one of those politicians in the film espousing the policy was Newsom. A naked political message coming out of a public charity. So if there was an independent attorney general in California, because they're the ones that monitor and regulate charities in California, maybe we would get some answers on this. But I don't think in one-party Democratic rule in California, you're going to have the California Attorney General investigate the governor's wife and her public charity. These are some of the things that we're working on at openthebooks.com. Today, in the New York Post, in a full page, Miranda Devine, her column was on our investigation of Governor Newsom. It is entitled, California Governor Newsom, His Scheme for the Oval Office. I encourage you to read it. We'll put a link to that article in the comment section of this podcast today. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of angles coming down the pike. And if you live in California or know the lay of the land in California and have institutional knowledge, go check out openthebooks.com and the California State Checkbook and tell us what you find. Thank you for joining us here today on this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week.